Hey guys, Poeticlyskuac here. What I'm here to talk about is arousal. There's a couple different things I want to talk about among arousal, and so this might be a kind of long video. With arousal, you don't know the motivation for the arousal. What arousal means is the sympathetic nervous system went out. It's affectionately referred to as the SNS. With the SNS, what happens is the heartbeat increases, the breathing becomes erratic because the blood flow increased and the amount of oxygen to all your cells needs to increase. So keep in mind that somebody who's aroused is really just, it's a form of stress, believe it or not. And stress in the right type of doses is actually very good. It's stress in large doses where our entire mind freezes up and everything, that it becomes bad. So with arousal, you just don't know. Are they excited because they're happy? You know, are they aroused for fear reasons? Are they aroused because they just went and worked out? Or are they sexually aroused? I mean, they're all different forms of arousal, but they all show up the same, and that's kind of the confusing part, is somebody who's aroused has all the things that happen. A man that becomes aroused during battle, a lot of times it was talked about how he would actually end up with a hard-on. I mean, he'd get an erection from the arousal of battle because he was that aroused. One thing about arousal outside of that is it is known and has been studied that women who have been aroused beforehand, regardless of whether it's sexual or not, are easier to warm up. Meaning a woman that's already been aroused by fear, like a roller coaster or a scary movie, or aroused by working out, going dancing is a great example. Is a good way to start her sympathetic nervous system and get it circulating blood, and she's more likely to be turned on. There was a study done where the women were told to evaluate men on the way off a roller coaster, meaning their whole body was aroused, and then there was women that were getting on a roller coaster and they were told to evaluate the same photo. The women that were aroused actually evaluated the man, and it was the same man, you know, average looking guy, wasn't, you know, too much of anything, rated him more attractive when they were aroused. So when a woman is attracted to you, or even minusculely, she'll actually consider you more attractive when she's aroused. It's great. It's also a great way to start them up as far as sexual attraction. Like I said, they're more likely to be a little more sexually aroused if they were scared. So one study done was the women were shown a travel video, very peaceful, and the next one, right after, they were showed an erotic video, and then they were tested to see how aroused they were. And there was another side-by-side test with these same women where it was done on a separate day, and the women were told to work out for 20 minutes, and they were told to get their heartbeat up as fast as possible, and then they watched an erotic video, and they were a lot more aroused. 400%, I think, was the statement. I could be wrong. Don't take that one to heart. But they were aroused. So take into consideration, yeah, you know, she might not be aroused because of you currently, but, you know, she's more likely to be sexually aroused in a little bit. So taking a girl dancing, watching a scary movie are great forms of dates. You know, you want them to be excited and have a good time. You want them to release endorphins, increase their serotonin and dopamine levels. That's why laughter is so great. But on to the body language aspect of arousal, which is, you know, probably why you guys are watching this. And let's start with lips. When it comes to arousal, your lips will start to swell. What happens is all that blood flow is going all the way around, and it's going fast, and that blood flows to the lips. And a lot of times we bite our lips when we're aroused because they get itchy. They just swelled up. When somebody lies, believe it or not, they do become Pinocchio, and their nose extends slightly, and that's why they scratch their nose. It's the same concept. Their body's been aroused in some way. So their lips will start to swell, but that's not what I want to talk about. What happens is, and this is kind of a side note, is there's a genital echo. So that arousal that goes to their lips goes to both sets of their lips. And the reason that it goes down there as well is because that blood flow to that area, to their genital, it'll actually make it easier for penetration and intercourse. So a woman who's aroused actually has more blood down there, and she's more likely to be able to experience intercourse when her lips are swelled. Next thing I want to talk about is eyes. Okay, eyes are my favorite part, to be perfectly honest, of any woman, as far as telling who she is. And pupil dilation is at the top of that list as far as arousal goes. Like I said, you can't tell why they're aroused, you can't tell why their pupils are big, but you can tell they are big, and that is a form of arousal. Sometimes if the environment's very dark, their pupils have to be big, because that's how we see, is the pupils will let in more sunlight or more light, so that they can see better. Well, when we're aroused, we try and let everything in. And then there's bedroom eyes, which are an offshoot of that. Okay, what bedroom eyes are they're pupil dilated eyes, but they're also glossy. Now, what happened is the chemicals in your brain made you feel good, and so there's fluid that's leaked right behind your eyes, and they start to become glossy, and so your eyes will look shiny, and there'll be dilated pupils. One thing I didn't say, but I kind of want to say, is with pupil dilation, we are naturally attracted to it. There was a study done where men were told to say which woman was attractive or more attractive, the woman in one picture, or which picture was more attractive with the woman. The one with the pupil dilation actually ended up being rated a lot higher, and the reason for that is she was showing arousal, and all they did was Photoshop the pupils, and she looked more attractive. So now you know, when you stare at that girl on the front page, chances are her eyes were Photoshopped to make her look more aroused. And then there's the blink rate. Okay, this is a really good tip for poker, just like the pupil dilation. And what happens is, when we're excited, we tend to spread the liquids in our eyes more, so we blink a lot more, you know? And this is something that you see in poker a lot, and that's why I kind of specifically said it, is when we're excited, we might try and hold the rest of our body accountable, but our eyes will blink a lot. And that's just normal. It is what it is. And so those three things happen a lot when somebody's aroused. Next thing is blushing. Okay, with all that blood that's rushing around the body and the lips are swelled, your face becomes red. You start blushing. Your ears become red. To me, this is pretty basic. Everybody knows when somebody has a crush that their skin tone starts to change. A woman who's about to have an orgasm, or who has had an orgasm or worked out, will be bright red. This is a very good feature as far as arousal goes. And breathing pattern, obviously, I've talked about it, breathing pattern will become erratic when she's aroused. Sometimes it's because of attraction, sometimes it's because of the situation or the context. And then last but not least is happy feet. This again is more poker related, but a woman will start moving her feet a lot more, and she will basically say, hey, you know, I'm happy, I have a lot of energy that I want to use, and I need to use it because I'm aroused and my heartbeat's going crazy. So just remember, arousal is pretty specific, but it happens to all parts of your body, not just one or the other. So just look around, see what's happening, and see whether she's aroused by you or the situation. But keep in mind that just because she's not aroused by you doesn't mean she won't be aroused by you later sexually. After all, she is going to associate that arousal with you in some way. Just be careful that it's not in a bad way. So that was a lot about arousal, and I hope you guys all got something out of it. This is Poeticlyskuac signing off. Peace.